And hi everybody, as you can see, I still have my sling. I will be in it for some more weeks and then begins physical therapy to regain the range of motion. And after that begins the strength training to try and get my physique back, such as it was. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be more or less back to normal, which means I've got some time to go. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about FI, and that FI, at least dominant, gets mixed up between evaluation, an active process, and values, a static repository. And what I've seen happen frequently is that people think they have high FI, or more often that they're FI dominant, because they have very strong values. I don't drink and smoke, and I don't approve of other people who do that. I like this kind of music over that kind of music, or I like these types of songs, but I don't like those types of songs. I feel affiliated with this sort of political party or these social concepts, and I disapprove of these others. Or I have particular food preferences of one sort over another. All of these things, yes, they are value judgments, but what if they're value judgments made in the past? It's something that was determined a month ago, 3 months ago, a couple of weeks ago. It's not an active processing determination. You're recalling all of this thing from your past experiential reference. In other words, you're not using FI actively at all. You're referring back to your SI to avoid doing any processing, because that processing power of saying, what do I like, what don't I like, takes more processing power than what did I or did I not like in the past that I can simply build up into a number of bullet points to present, to showcase that I have a high amount of feeling and that I have these set firm values. So with an ISFP, with an INFP, what you would expect to see is evaluation taking place in real time. And that's where the INFP or ISFP dwell. So my wife, who I've talked about in the past or mentioned in the past, she is an ISFP. And if I were to sit her down and say, let's make a list of things that you like and don't like for the sake of an MBTI cognitive function exercise, well, we'd probably get started and we'd get a couple of bullet points in, and then she would say, do we have to do this? This is kind of dumb. Doesn't make any sense. Can't we just do something else? And that is, in fact, active FI. That is judging what's going on with its SE, auxiliary. So SE is looking at this and it's determining that there's not a whole lot of sensory stimulation that's happening here that's worthwhile. So FI is making the decision to say, this is not a good use of time. I should engage my SE in something that provides me with more rich decision-making, rich processing opportunities for my introverted feeling. And there's, for example, a YouTuber in the past who is now no longer active in the MBTI community, but identified as an INFP, had many times the amount of subscribers that I have, and still does, but doesn't do MBTI content anymore. Back in the day, when that person was doing MBTI content, you could clearly see the SE content, that they were showcasing all sorts of pictures of that person at parties and with others, and they'd kind of call all this up to show, as an INFP, you need to engage with these experiences and you need to have these sensory things around you and understand how the world, not understand, but experience the world in its richness, and then make those introverted feeling decisions or evaluations based on your interactions with the world, which is all really nice, but that wasn't really something that would be as compelling to INFPs. The INFP equivalent, of course, is going to places where people say this kind of stuff and make certain claims, and then you sort of investigate the claim, and NE comes up with a lot of ideas about what's correct, what isn't correct, how could you look at this differently, and wants to evaluate all of those different possibilities. So for me, it's more the catnip of looking at how people describe themselves and their processes, as I'm interested in MBTI, who would have guessed it, and make those sorts of value decisions on what is correct and what is congruent, what is out of line and why, and is there any novelty here that I haven't come across before that provides or that lets me reconsider things that I've processed in the past and look at them in a fresh new way, as in become an entirely new evaluation that would allow me to open up a whole bunch of past evaluations I've made and revisit them, because that's what's interesting. Looking at things here and there, revisiting, reevaluating, and seeing if there's new evidence that changes the past evaluation judgments, because what's in the past isn't really that interesting. If you don't pick up with a fresh processing, a fresh evaluation, then it's kind of boring. Anyway, that's all I have got. Again, FI dominant, evaluation, not values. Look for somebody to have an active conversation with someone you think is FI dominant and have them make active new evaluations and see if that is something that is squarely in their wheelhouse, that they do as naturally as breathing. And then you know that you have an FI dominant. That's all I've got. Thanks and bye for now.